look out. Here's trouble. G'day, legends. Time for a bit of Jim Does Supercoach. Talking out all your AFL Supercoach for round 16. We are a little bit later this week. It is a Thursday, so we at least have, teams for tonight. But also, it's because the NBA draft has been going on. I've been busy. Lots going on. But anyway, bit of Jim Does Supercoach AFL. How did we go for round 15? I managed a 22.36, which was all right. Ranked me in the top 8%. Moved me back up 3,900 spots overall to 20,524. So, ranked in the top 11%, I guess. Sure. It was a bit of a weird one because obviously I got the VC loop on Luke Jackson. Hopefully you got the same. The big sort of drop-offs with the likes of Took Miller and Cozzy Pickett. Rankin didn't do too much. Jack Sinclair obviously got hurt. Our man James Sicily, obviously thought he was playing in Tassie because he sucked a lee. 74 for him, and Dan Houston's cool. He forgotten how to play footy with 84 as well. 70 for Caleb Sarong, and look, it was just nice to have Sarong running out there. I was kind of happy with that. Bont with the 142 was very nice though. So okay-ish kind of week. Pretty happy with that. Could have been better. Took Miller, since I brought him in, has been a real disappointment. But otherwise, there's obviously, when you're trying to dodge all these buys and trying to make sure you've got your green dots rather than blue dots or red dots or injured dots on field, you're sort of like, all right, well, Took Miller, at least he's playing. I'll take that. Jeez. And yeah, speaking of buys, we've got 4 teams on buy this week. Is it buy-mageddon? Kind of, because you've got Geelong, Melbourne, St Kilda and the Western Bulldogs on bye this week, which means no Bailey Smith, even though he missed as well last week for the Cats. He's a bit sick, i.e. I don't want to go all the way to Freo when I could be surfing. You can go surf in WA. It's pretty nice. Anyway, but your Cats, Max Holmes and Bailey Smith is a bit of a rough one. Melbourne, that's obviously your Cozzy Pickett, your Max Gawn. Folks, St Kilda, that is Naz. It's Jack Sinclair, even though he's gotten injured anyway. It's also Cal Wilkie. It's, fair few other folks. And the Dogs, that's your Bont, Ed, Richard. Who's got Tinglish still? Just saying. So it's a bit thin on the ground this week. I've actually got 19 playing. I'll get to that later. But with that, obviously, the biggest news this week has been the Jack Sinclair injury, considering how widely he was owned. It's not a giant surprise that everybody is jumping off the Jack Sinclair train. 44,000 trades out so far. Jesus. Woo-wee, that's a bit, isn't it? How many teams was he actually in? Yeah, he's still in 53.6% of teams. So, he was in a lot of teams. Goes out, obviously, with a calf injury. The latest news on that is that he'll be out for an extended period of time. And as we're hitting round 16, there's not a giant amount of time left in your old Supercoach season. So if you've got the trades, let's go. Get rid of him. So really, the other one was Cherry. If you, like me, brought him in last week or the week before, you'll be stoked to know that he instantly got injured again. Basically, as soon as he comes into my team, Tristan Cherry goes, hurt. It's just, I don't know why I'm some sort of curse for Tristan Cherry, but I am. So that sort of things. He had a fracture in his jaw. He had a little bit of surgery. I love a little bit of surgery. I love that in the American sports, we call it a procedure, not a maybe. And he's going to miss this week, maybe next week. And to be honest, the Cherry one is far less, disastrous than the Jack Sinclair one. For the simple fact, if you've got Cherry, it's only a couple of weeks. You can probably hold your nose and keep him and you're okay. So I guess that's where we start this week. The big issues, the big questions this week are your blue dot coverage. How are you covering your buys? Have you got 18 players playing on field?
What?
Got to watch out for the shack attack as well. So your blue dot coverage, that's what we're talking about. For me, that's like Cozzy, it's Holmes, Bont, and obviously Naz. So, it's a fair chunk, but not too massive. I can sort of negotiate a little bit. It'd be very nice if we find out that Jackson Artemis is going to be playing tonight, as well as Marcus Herbert. Because if not, your mate Jim might be Up a creek without a paddle. Otherwise, yeah, replacing Sinclair is the biggest one. So if we sort of look ahead to like the teams, the games that are this week, which is how we've starting this show, right? So you're sort of looking at some of the matchups, and in the back of your mind, you're like, all right, I'm going to replace Jack Sinclair at some point. The Geelong, Melbourne Saints and Dogs, players are out of the question, at least for this week, because they're on a bye. So what are the games this week? We've got Brisbane, Sydney kicking off things tonight. That's your Lockie Neals, your Darcy Wilmots. Keep an eye on him, and a very interesting pod. And the Swans, welcome back. Whoa, Errol Goulden, which is very cool. What does that mean for Isaac Heaney, Heenman, Baba, and Chad Chudley-Warner? We're going to find out. And it's a bit of a weird one. Grundy is also out there. He's being named, which is handy. But we've also got to keep in mind that I believe Peter Laddams has also been named. So we'll see what that does for Grundy's score. I'm not going to put the C on him or the VC on him at all. So, yeah, there we go. Outside of that, the next batch of games, Friday night, you got the Hawks GWS. Really interesting game at the G. Which GWS is going to show up? Because we're talking Whitfield, we're talking Ash. If you've got Toby Green, I don't know. There's a few other, GWS players out there you'd sort of be kicking the tires on. But for me, mostly it's kind of keep an eye on Will Day and whether or not he can sort of continue his nice return so far, because I'll tell you what, he's coming back and he's flying. You had another, 108 last week, which is very, very nice. So at 491, I'll talk about him a little bit later, but feeling pretty good about it. And the Hawks, the rest of it's sort of Jai Newcomb. He's in 4% of teams, 7.2% for your man, James Sicily. Not a giant amount elsewhere, but GWS is an interesting one because there's like a lot of chat. Obviously, Clayton Oliver's in 16% of teams as well, but Ash Whitfield, Finn Callahan as well, 22% of teams. There's a lot of chatter about Ash and, the kick-ins and his work in defense. I'm not too bothered. I think he's just going to get plenty of he's a lock and load for me. He's going to end up one of the top 6 defenders, so he's just in my team and he stays there. So that's fine by me. The rest of the week, what do we got? Saturday, Carlton versus the Eagles. I'm going to talk about George Hewitt later. I like this one for Sam Walsh as well. This will be at Marvel. I'll be there with the eldest squid. Should be pretty fun. Sam Walsh, Cripps. Keep an eye on Harry Mackay. He might go whack. But George Hewitt, Will Hayward, a couple of those sort of like Will Hayward sort of playing on a forward wing. Always feels pretty good, always thereabout. But George Hewitt could pop up with a goal or two at Marvel and absolutely tear apart the Eagles. And talk about him again later. And the Eagles, we're just hoping that Marcus Herbert gets named. Milan Murdoch, maybe, if he's out there. Outside of that, it's not a giant amount of Eagles. Whoa, bam-a-lam, ho, Harley Reid, bam-a-lam. It'd be nice if Harley Reid actually really went absolutely hammer and tongs. Tim Kelly, another interesting POD up forward. He's a forward mid. Still, up against the Blues at Marvel, who knows what'll happen there. Collingwood-Richmond, this is the Dacos game. Let's go. Jordan De Go, if you had him last week, he had a really good one. The Tigers, a lot of their young folks, it's all a little bit too squirrely for me. There's so much in and out with the Tigers that I'm just kind of like, hands off for a lot of it. Port and Adelaide. That's right, Port Adelaide versus Adelaide. It means it's a showdown. Butters usually goes off. Dawson hasn't been too great in the showdowns. Love me a Butters in that one. Horn Francis as well, the horny one. The Hornet, come on. He's been really good of late. Keep it up. Adelaide, you've got Dawson. I'd be really like to see Rankin really start tearing apart a bit of midfield time and just really repay a bit of the faith that Supercoaches have in him, but I don't feel great about it. The same goes for Dan Houston, actually, to go back to Collingwood. Jeez, he's been frustrating, I'll tell you. North and Essendon on Sunday. That's a big one for the Shees, LDU. Obviously no Cherry, so keeping an eye on Cooper Trembath. Those hitouts, 4 goals last week, feeling pretty good. And the Dons, Archie Roberts isn't going to be out for a giant amount of time apparently, but still we've all moved, a bunch of us have moved off him. If you've kept him, just keep on keeping him. Outside of that, I'm looking for Jackson Artemis to get named. You've got a couple of other folks out there that are still, Zerrett. If you've got him, keep him. What are you doing? Why not? Freo Gold Coast finishes off the round. That's the Luke Jackson show. Caleb Sarong up against the Suns. That's Petrarca and Took Miller and Matty Rowell. Johnny Noble. Rioli goes out with a fractured jaw as well. So I think Bodie Uland and, The weapon, Johnny Noble, that's just, it feels pretty good all of a sudden for those dudes, right? The amount of ball use that they'll probably get from this, because Noah Anderson's been carving it up of late. 3-round average of just a lazy 121. But Bodie Hewland has been really, really good. One of my favourite pods in defence at the moment too. So those are the games this week. Those are the interesting ones. So the targets, what are we looking at, Jim? Who are we going to replace Jack Sinclair with? Take your pick. Whitfield. He's had a bit of a down, few weeks. The thing is, that also means that his price has come down a little bit, which is kind of nice. And Ash, look, he was really good last week. And I think if you look at the overall sort of averages, not Mark Keane, he's only played the one game, had 133, we get it. Max Holmes, Naz, out this week. The weapon, Johnny Noble, only had 87 last week. He's already priced at 587. It's a bit of a rough one. But I think without Rioli there, he gets plenty of the ball. And as long as he uses it okay, it's 7.1%, a great pod. But you got to pay up to get him. Ash is a good one, obviously, 113 last week. Luke Parker is the obvious one. You actually make money from a Luke Parker trade down. He's at 131. He's the 8th highest average so far, ahead of Whitfield at 503k as well. I do like the Lizard, Nick Blakey. I think his spike scores are massive. He's only in 6.4% of teams as well. Another good pod. Wayne Miller has been very, very solid all year for the Crom too, right? He's got a 101.3 average in 9.2% of teams. But I guess my favourite is probably Bodie Hewland, because he's at 510k. It's basically a straight swap from Jack Sinclair, and he's just ripped off 116 and 118 in his last 2 weeks. That's against the Cats, the Hawks. He now has Freo over at Optus Stadium. Yes, a bit of a rough one, we get that. Pies at People's First, Adelaide, Dogs, but he's just been really solid. He's had some pretty big scores in there this year as well, without anything sort of too disastrous. Like the lowest he's gone is 71. But other than that, he's got 8 tons. That's really good. So yeah, I like him as probably my favourite pod to replace Sinclair. Parker's the obvious candidate just because we know that his spike scores can be pretty massive. The 131 this week, he's only in 12.8% of teams as well. What about Caleb Daniel? He had 149 last week as well. Got another game against Essendon. Can you trust him? I don't know. And some of those guys who are on the bye this week, Bailey Dale is another one that sort of tends to be forgotten about. 99.7% average, 109 last week. But my favourite, and probably who I'm going to wait, I'll get to this when the trades, but I think it just might be Callum Wilkie. So Cal Wilkie probably comes in for me after 130. Just straight swap, make some money off it, move on from there. Outside of that, do we trade Cherry? I think if you've got him, if you're really desperate and you got plenty of trades, do it. But if not, I'm just going to keep him on ice for a week or two and hope that he comes back quicker than perhaps, if he comes back in 2 weeks' time, you're laughing. The other big one that I wanted to hit on was F6, because all your midfield options are pretty straightforward, right? You can just go your bang on Primos to the cows come home, but the forward line has been a bit of a mess at the moment. So with my full upgrade team, I've got Took Miller at F6. I feel okay about that, but by the same token, he's been rubbish the last 2 weeks, 75 this week. Break even this week at 128. Don't feel great about that, but, comes off a 67 to 75 and really only 1 ton in his last 5 games. So literally as soon as he got into my team, 67 and 75. Thanks a lot there, Took. You're breaking my heart. Can't do too much about that, but what are some other good options? So I've got Shees, Hornet, Petrarca, Rankin, Pickett, and Took Miller. I'm not going to trade any of those out. Look, I've only got 4 trades left, right? So I'm just kind of like lock and load, steady as she goes. Jack Sinclair goes out. I'll have 3 trades, 3 trades the rest of the season. I'm like, I need to get a full upgraded team as soon as possible. And unfortunately, that left me with 4 trades. So here we are. What I do like is Rowan Marshall. TDK copped a punctured lung, broken ribs. He's going to be out for a fair whack of time. Rowan Marshall's at 425k, solo ruck possibly. Can move around the ground. We know he can score pretty highly. I love that as a bit of a pod. Josh Tracy's been carving it up. Shai Bolton. Zach Bailey's probably another good one. But I do love Murphy Reed. He has absolutely been, carving up games is a bit of a overused term. But he's also been carving up games. So there's a couple of good F6s there for you. I think Rowan Marshall is a good POD. Tracy, it feels like you can just bank him in because they've just been so good, Freo. I feel okay about my 6, but Rankin and Miller just not really pulling their weight at the moment. So with all of that in mind, so we talked about a bunch of the defenders, a bunch of the F6 possibilities. I also wanted to quickly hit on 3 mid pods that if I had like maybe 1 or 2 more trades, I'd probably, look at bringing in. Whoa, Errol, 2.7% owner. He already had 2 tons. He's actually on the bubble after going out after round 1 with his shoulder injury. I love Errol. He was in my team to start the season. I would bring him back in if I could, but as it stands, I can't. So here we are. Will Day, another great one. He's been fantastic for the Hawks, 2.5% owned. And I think the only problem with him is, if you bring him in and he instantly gets injured, you've just done yourself a Will Day. And George Hewitt, though, now that Josh Fraser's in charge there with my beloved Blues, he went, hang on a second, you on the best and fairest, you're good. Get out there and play. Whereas Michael Voss is just like, hang on a second, my head is so far up my own rectum that I can't see the light of day. So George Hewitt, you're going to go play in the 2s. It's like, what are we doing here? So Hewitt's back. He had 138 last week against the Giants. He's in 0.3% of teams. George Hewitt, I'm just saying, if I end up with a luxury trade at the very end of the season, he's coming into my team. Simple as that. Who are the most traded in and out players this week, Jim? This is what we usually do here on this show. Obviously, Jack Sinclair, 45,000 trades already. The number 1 trade out player. Yeah, that just makes sense. You can't, with the diagnosis that it's just a really long time, seemingly, for that calf, it sucks for him, it sucks for us. Jack Ison at number 2, Tristan Cherry at 3. It's 5,000 trades at 539K. As I said, I'm just going to hold him. Milan Murdoch, that makes sense, coming off his bye. Against the Blues over here, you can probably move off him. Patrick Racheko as well, 280K. Lost another 20K last week for the Tigers. You got to get him off your team. Simple as that. Lockie McAndrew, he's still doing okay as the ruck there for the Crom, but look, if you can't get to one of those Premo rucks, he's like a fair placeholder until you can. Angry Anderson, if he's still in your team, sure. Coming off not playing. Leo Lombard, Archie Robertson, Charlie Banfield, the most other traded out players. Archie Roberts, look, if you've still got him, I'd just hold him because who knows what could happen there, right? It's a bit of a weird one. The most traded in. So this is like a weird mix where Jack Sinclair has been traded out. It's people bringing in the likes of Kyle Anand, one of the rookies on the bubble. That's 18,000 trades. Luke Parker is the next best, obviously. So it's people either cashing in Sinclair down to Anand or using him and bringing him in a double trade with someone like Parker, or the next one, Marcus Herbert, who's in 8,000 trades so far, 99K rookie. He's already in my team. Luke Jackson is the 4th most traded in because if you've just gone from Cherry to Jackson, you're laughing at 587K. That's good. You can also, do a bit of the old switcheroo with Jack Sinclair, get him in the flex, get in a Luke Jackson if you need to. Mitch Projaski, 6,000 trades as well for your Collingwood forward. That makes sense. He's been good. Lockie Ash, as mentioned, you got a 40K jump-ish? What is it? How much up from, it's like a 33K jump up or 31K up. Use your maths, Jim. Nah, what is that? 37K up to Ash. So it's a bit of a tough one, but it's not too much. Ash is probably still a very good one, but there's the pods that I hit on. Just say, Yuland, almost a straight swap. Sam Durham, very, very cheap still, coming off his bye for the Dons. 370K as a mid forward. Love him as a good cheapy option. I've always loved Sam Durham. So if you can get him into your team, I just don't have quite, the room or the money. Sam Swaddling, 113K rookie. I don't think I'd be bothering with 113K rookies when we can get 99K rookies in. The Lizard, Nick Blakey, good to see that 3,900 coaches have brought him in as well at 509K. Still a very good replacement, I think, for Jack Sinclair. And the Hornet, they're in 10th. So there we go. The rookies this week, obviously we've sort of hit on that, right? We got Pods, you've got Anand, Marcus Herbert coming off his bye. If they get named, Jackson Artemis as well is one who's already in my team. I'm okay with him as a floating donut if need be. It'd be handy if he played this week. It'd be really handy if he just took Archie Roberts' role. We'll find out when teams are named. But you've still got the likes of Hugo Hall-Kahan, who's playing pretty well and still hopefully in this Adelaide team. They do have some dudes coming back into that team though, so tread carefully. Anand has done very, very well. Kai Anand for the Tigers. That's perfect. If you've got a 99K defender you can bring in, I'm happy with him. He's good bench coverage. Luke Parker, like, this sort of interesting combo if you want to like bank a bit of cash and get one of the dudes on the and like get a score on field this week with Kyle and Nand. Because if he plays out there and he gets you 60, you're laughing, and then you can use that cash next week to go get Naz or Max Holmes if you don't have them, etc. That's pretty smart. But yeah, it's the likes of Hugo, Joel Fitzgerald, Pods, and Jackson Artemis, Marcus Herbert. Herbert's been very, very good, and hopefully he gets named against the Blues. Hopefully Artemis gets named as well. But yeah, Pods is probably the lowest ranked one just because he's that forward and it's a little bit, the scoring's probably going to be a little bit, how you going? Joel Fitzgerald as well on the bye this week. So Herbert and Nand are probably your two that you want to really eyeball, and Artemis if he actually gets named. So there you go. What trades are we going to do this week? None, because I've only got the 4 left, and I think my preferred target for Jack Sinclair was just going straight to Cal Wilkie. I nearly went to him last week, but instead I switched out. Yeah, who did I bring in last week? Oh, yeah, I got Ash in, what was it, last week for Archie Roberts after holding Archie Roberts for that 1 week. And, of course, Roberts might be back soon. That's a real kick in the guts. But you get that on the big job, so you can't really stress on it too much. But, yeah, with my sort of setup at the moment, I'm okay. I've got 19. As long as if Jackson Artemis actually does get named, we've got possibly 19 players on field this week. I'm okay with that, and we'll save my 4 trades just in case anything else crazy happens this week. And then probably next week I'll swap out Sinclair for Cal Wilkie, keep a little bit of cash just in case of anything else as well. So holding Cherry, holding Sinclair for this week, no trades, but it probably... If I had to do it right now, I probably would throw Yuland out there just because he's my favourite pod, and without Rioli there too. I think there's a lot of run and gun off that sort of Gold Coast backline into the midfield that he and the weapon Johnny Noble can get around. So Yuland is probably my favourite interesting like replacement pod. Parker, the spike scores, the difference in like his high and lows, you get that on the big jobs. Blakey, Whitfield, I don't know. Whitfield at that cheap sort of price, it feels okay, but Yuland, I'm just saying, something about it. 8 tons already, just saying. But I'm probably just going to hold my 4 remaining trades. We know that Sinclair's done for the bit, but I really like Wilkie coming into my team next week because I think the scores will be there, and I think he's very, very, very good. So that just leaves us with the captains this week. I'm going to throw the VC on the Nick Dacos against the Tigers because midfield has been absolutely carving the Tigers up. You look at like Will Ashcroft, and just like on and on and on. They keep killing him. So I'm going to go the VC on Dacos for Saturday afternoon at the G, with the C on Luke Jackson against the Suns on Sunday evening at home again. Yeah, the Suns, look, what do they got? Witsy, my beloved Ned Moyle, but yeah, Luke Jackson could go massive again if Dacos doesn't have a huge one. He had 159 last week, I'm just saying. So I'll do the VC on Dacos into the C, Luke Jackson. And that is it for the round 15 wrap, the round 16 preview of AFL Supercoach. Feeling okay about the team being fully upgraded. Always knew that trades were going to be a problem after I had to pull the 4th, use my final boost last week to get Ash in, and also just like get rid of essentially another non-playing rookie. And then the Sinclair injury happens and you're like, oh, of course. Then the Cherry injury and you're like, geez, man. The hits keep coming. But hopefully we're set up for the rest of the run home. Feeling okay-ish. I think if Wilkie can just walk into that Sinclair role and just put up really big numbers, I'd feel okay. But yeah. So I feel a little bit iffy about not rolling somebody out there this week and having like that, not that score out there. But depending on teams tonight, I think we'll just leave the trades for this week and then swap Sinclair out for Wilkie next week. So there you go. That's it. Round 16. Here's to a big one for you. For everybody else, remember you can get around NBA Australia as well. We're breaking down all the NBA draft gear, heading into free agency. Footy Unfilterated with my man Jez and I, talking all things footy each week. That's a good time. NFL Australia as well with myself and Gaz. So get around all those shows, jump in the comments, say g'day. Go check them all out on YouTube, all the fun stuff. So that's it for this week. Here's to a big round 16 of Supercoach. Happy Supercoaching.